My fondest knitting memory. Well, when my mother taught me how to knit, probably.
My mother taught me how to knit, and my grandmother. There's a little story.
I learned to knit from my mom maybe when I was 6 or somewhere back then.
My grandmother, when I was probably 10 years old.
Great-grandmother taught me how to crochet when I was 4 years old.
My mother had always been a knitter and crocheter, and she had always really wanted to get me to do it.
She used to make huge afghans, so I know that I would crochet parts of the afghan for her.
She knitted every blanket in our house.
My mother made my scarf here.
She had extra balls of yarn that I was very happy using. It didn't matter the color, it's just that I was creating something.
My mother used to wrap the yarn in this weird, crazy way around her hand, and then I could never do it.
I would knit a row, she would fix it, and then I would keep knitting. And it was a disaster, but I was quiet so she could cook and she could fix stuff and she could...
And it wasn't until like maybe 10 years ago that I realized that's continental knitting.
I remember her teaching me how to cast on and over, under, doing a long tail cast on.
I actually remember her teaching me, and it was really, really special. I had a very special connection with my great-grandmother.
And I just remember her being very patient and showing me how to wrap the yarn around my index and forefinger.
We found out once she had passed that, she had actually knitted baby blankets for our children. Like for me and my brother, my sister, and our cousins, like we each have 2 baby blankets that we didn't even realize she had made for us.
My grandma taught me how to knit when I was like 5 years old, and I found that it was kind of a great way to connect to her and to my mom.
I knit because I wanted to be close to my mom.
And so since then I've kind of surpassed her with the knitting, and so that's, I think, what makes knitting now so fun, is that it's something we do together.
But she would make me all of these beautiful sweaters, and then I started to make my own sweaters, and then you know how like it became a family tradition.
She loves to kind of like brag about it and just point out the things that I've made for her to her friends, and I just love that.
You know, it's something that I'll always have as a memory to share as a relationship with my mom. And
so to kind of like honor her memory and her like craftiness, like she sewed and she knit and she cooked and all of that stuff, so I kind of really picked it up again after that to just kind of like continue that tradition, because it would be a shame if it was lost.